Sometimes, life throws a curveball that completely knocks the wind out of you, but in the best way possible. That's what happened to me recently, and it's a story I just have to share. It involves my ex, his son, and a moment of honesty that changed everything I thought I knew about our breakup. My relationship with David lasted for 7 years. We met in our late 20s, fell hard and fast, and within a year, I was moving into the home he shared with his then 6-year-old son, Leo. David was a single dad, and from day one, I knew that being with him meant being with Leo too. And honestly, I loved it. Leo was this bright, funny, and incredibly smart kid. I fell into the role of a stepmom figure so naturally. We built Lego cities that took over the entire living room, had epic movie marathons with way too much popcorn, and I was the one who helped him with his science projects and cheered the loudest at his soccer games. For 7 years, we were a family. I wasn't just David's girlfriend. I was Leo's other parent. But relationships can be complicated. Over time, the spark between David and me started to fade. The little disagreements became bigger arguments. The laughter was replaced with tense silences. We tried, we really did. We went to therapy, we planned date nights, we talked until we were exhausted, but we just couldn't find our way back to each other. The love had turned into a deep yet platonic friendship. We were great co-parents, but we were no longer partners. The breakup was heartbreaking, but it was mutual and surprisingly amicable. We agreed it was for the best. The hardest part, by far, was telling Leo. He was 13 by then, and watching the confusion and hurt in his eyes was one of the most painful moments of my life. I packed my bags, moved into a new apartment across town, and we all tried to navigate our new reality. David and I stayed in touch for Leo's sake. We'd coordinate schedules, attend parent-teacher conferences together, and I'd still show up for his big moments, but it wasn't the same. I kept a polite distance. I figured that was what was best for everyone. I needed to let David and Leo build their life without me constantly in the picture. And I needed to build a new life for myself. I told myself I was moving on. I focused on my career, made new friends, even started dating a little. I thought I had closed that chapter, packed it away neatly on a shelf in my mind labeled the past. I truly believed I was okay. Then, a few weeks ago, I got a text. It was from Leo. My heart did a little flip. We didn't text often, usually just for birthdays or holidays. This was different. He asked if I was free to grab a coffee. He said he wanted to talk about something. I was immediately nervous. Was everything okay? Was it about school? About his dad? My mind raced with possibilities, but I just texted back. Of course. When and where? We met at a small coffee shop halfway between my apartment and his house. He'd grown so much since I'd last seen him a few months ago. At 15, he was almost a man, tall and with a deeper voice, but he still had the same kind eyes I remembered from when he was 6. We ordered our drinks and found a quiet corner table. The small talk was a little awkward at first. We talked about his classes, my new job, the weather. Then he took a deep breath and looked me straight in the eye. I wanted to talk to you about why you and my dad broke up, he said. My stomach dropped. This was the last thing I expected. I started to give him the standard, sanitized answer. Well, Leo, sometimes adults just grow apart. We still care about each other very much, but he cut me off gently. I know, that's what you both told me. But that's not what I mean. He paused, gathering his thoughts. I've been thinking about it a lot, and I think it was my fault. I was floored. I just stared at him, completely speechless. Leo, what? No, absolutely not. Why would you ever think that?
He looked down at his cup, his voice getting quieter.
Because I was difficult, especially those last couple of years. I was a teenager. I was moody. I talked back. I remember you and Dad fighting. A lot of those fights were about me. About rules or my grades or me being disrespectful. I remember hearing my name through the walls. I made things hard for you. For both of you. And I think, if I had been better, maybe you would have stayed. Hearing those words felt like a punch to the gut. This sweet, wonderful boy had been carrying this immense, misplaced guilt for 2 years. My eyes started to well up. I reached across the table and put my hand over his. Leo, look at me, I said, my voice thick with emotion. You listened to me very carefully. Our breakup had absolutely nothing to do with you. Nothing. Do you hear me? Yes, your dad and I argued about things, and sometimes those things were about parenting. That's normal. All parents disagree sometimes. But those were our issues to solve, not yours. You were a teenager. Being moody and pushing boundaries is literally your job description. You were never a burden. You were the best part. Tears started to roll down his cheeks, and soon enough, I was crying too, right there in the middle of the coffee shop. I told him the honest-to-goodness truth. I told him how his dad and I had simply lost our romantic connection, how we were better as friends, and how the decision to separate was about our happiness as individuals. I explained that staying together when we weren't in love wouldn't have been fair to any of us, especially not to him. He just listened, nodding, wiping his eyes on his sleeve. I missed you, he finally whispered. After you left, the house was so quiet, it felt like the color was gone. I felt like I had lost a mom, and that's when I broke. All the walls I had built around my heart, all the "I'm fine, I've moved on" that I had been telling myself. It all came crashing down. I hadn't just been a girlfriend to David, I had been a mother to Leo, and in trying to give everyone space, in trying to do the right thing, I had let go of one of the most important relationships of my life. I hadn't realized how much I had been grieving that loss too. We sat there for another hour just talking. For the first time in 2 years, it wasn't awkward or forced, it was real. He told me about his new friends, his crush on a girl in his chemistry class, his dreams of becoming a video game designer. I told him about my life, the funny things that happened at work, the terrible dates I'd been on. It was like no time had passed at all. When we finally left, he gave me a hug, a real tight hug. "Thanks," he said. "I feel lighter." I got in my car and just sat there for a few minutes, processing everything. That conversation with Leo was a gift. It not only lifted a burden he never should have carried, but it also opened my eyes. It made me realize that family isn't always defined by blood or marriage certificates. It's defined by love, by shared history, by showing up for each other. Breaking up with David didn't mean I had to break up with Leo. Since that day, things have changed. Leo and I text all the time. We grab lunch once a week. I'm helping him study for his driver's test. I even went over for dinner last week, and for the first time, it didn't feel weird. It felt right. David and I are better friends now, too, bonded by our shared love for this incredible kid. Leo's honesty took me completely by surprise, but it was the wake-up call I didn't know I needed. It healed a part of him, and it healed a part of me I didn't even realize was broken. It reminded me that love doesn't just disappear. It just changes form. And sometimes, all it takes is an honest conversation to find your way back to it. Thank you so much for listening to my story. If you've ever been part of a blended family or gone through a similar experience, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more stories. See you next time.